Another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
Hey, boy, ish.
You already know what to do if it is your first time or you're about 105th time tuning in to X Talking Ish. Please make sure you go ahead and like and share this broadcast. If you are on Twitter, go ahead and check us out at X Talking Ish. And we are also streaming on my personal channel as well, X underscore Williams 81. We are also, of course, like I said, on Facebook. If you want to go ahead and hit that like button on Facebook for our page, we appreciate that very much. And as well, if you are on YouTube, please make sure you go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell for shows like this one in the future.
Ding.
Thank you for that, Ish.
Mm-hmm.
All righty then, Ish. I know the
Yes, sir.
people. Well, I know we haven't been on in a while because of just it's the summer. We also need our breaks too. We can't be on every week. I know everybody want to listen to us, but we have to have our breaks as well too. And luckily for us, wasn't too much going on in the NFL. But when it comes to the NFL, one thing that it does provide is it always going to provide content. And just, of course, over the last couple of days, of course, we had some big news in the NFL. We also had a another big drop on the ESPN when it comes to them dropping their 10 quarterbacks going into the NFL season. That's something that we will, of course, discuss here on X Talking Ish. But Ish, before we start off with anything that we're doing right now, I just want all
Mhm.
y'all to know that going into this season, we are revamping, we are getting better, we're gonna have better shows for y'all. And if you don't believe me, like I said, just watch this. With that being said, Ishmael, how's your night going so far?
Oh, it's not too bad. I'm excited to be back. Like you said, we had to take a little break because, of course, we have to have our own off season as well, right? Like
I'm
we've got
just
to
saying, man.
take a little break, refresh, go in, make some changes, and then come back ready to go for the new season. So it feels good to be back. Hopefully we can just get back into the swing of things, work off some of the rust per the usual. You know how the off season goes. I kind of consider this our preseason.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that, and I'm happy you segued that right into our first topic for the day. A player on a old face on a new team, starting out fresh out in North Carolina. Mr. Baker Mayfield gets traded to the Carolina Panthers recently. And the funny thing about all of that is just a couple months prior ish, I know you remember and everybody else remember the Instagram comment that was made by Robbie Anderson regarding Baker Mayfield maybe being a quarterback to get traded to the Carolina Panthers. And his short response was, no. I'm pretty sure, again, if you are in the sports world, you definitely remember. But if you don't remember, again, that's something that Robbie Anderson put out there in the social media world that at the moment, if you did catch his press conference regarding those comments, I'm not saying he backtracked, but I am saying that he definitely was playing a different position. And I'm talking about instead of playing wide receiver, he was playing defensive back. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And Ish, before we get into, of course, the quarterback competition in Carolina, what is it all entails when it comes to Cleveland and what they are going to have to deal with, of course, now with most likely moving forward Deshaun Watson. And of course, we will get more into that when the suspension or no suspension drops, yet to be determined. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the NFL. But let's start off with Robbie Anderson and him having to pretty much be a professional and having to do the right things for the moment to make sure that he pleases the team. We've played football before on all different types of levels. There are quarterbacks I know for sure that you probably played with that you didn't care for. I know for sure there are quarterbacks that I played for that I didn't care for. So with that being said, how does this relationship work out with Robbie Anderson and Baker Mayfield?
I mean, it's just business as usual, right? Like you just have to go out there. You got to do your job. The comments were made before Baker was officially on the team. Now Baker is officially on the team, so I think that's the water under the bridge. We just move forward, and it's up to Baker to really make him regret it, right? Make him feel like, yeah, this is the guy that is going to help us be able to compete, going to help us, take that next step that we need to move forward. Because if we're honest, Sam Darnold started hot and then he fell off the face of the earth. So we have to look at the situation of, is Sam Darnold that guy? And maybe the back half of the season was just a fluke, or do they really need another guy to step in here? I was actually really perplexed by the trade, if I'm just being honest. I don't know that Baker is necessarily an upgrade to Sam Darnold. I think they're kind of in the same class. If I'm just shooting it straight, they're kind of in the same class. I don't know that this is an upgrade. It might get you one or two more games, but is it really gonna put you in the hunt to get in the playoffs and make some noise? I don't think so. And I think Robbie Anderson was right in his reaction. I'm more so like, yeah, I don't know, especially after seeing what happened with OBJ and after he left the Browns and what he was able to do in LA. It had a lot of people kind of going back because they were questioning whether or not he was up there in the top 5. And then he goes to LA and people start to say, well, maybe it was Baker. Maybe Baker isn't that guy. And if I'm Robbie Anderson, I might be looking. If I'm Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, I'm probably sitting there thinking to myself, I want Sam to stay in a little bit longer.
Now, it's funny that you bring up all of those variables that go into this upcoming season for Baker Mayfield with the Carolina Panthers, because I have to piggyback off of what you said about the OBJ situation, because over the last couple of days, I've seen a lot of people that are supporting Baker, and I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying a lot of people are saying that this is what Baker needed. Baker needed a fresh start. He can go back to playing like he was at Oklahoma. He can be that guy and this, that, and the third. But just a couple of months ago, everybody was getting on him for being the guy that was holding OBJ back. And everybody was proud of OBJ for being with the Rams and having a great first half with the Super Bowl, of course, until unfortunately he got hurt. And then, of course, again, everybody was looking at Baker like, is it Baker's fault that OBJ was getting held back? Jarvis Landry might not be as successful as he should be, probably because of Baker Mayfield. And now all of a sudden the narrative has changed rather drastically, in my opinion, to pretty much let Baker off the hook for everything that was going on in Cleveland. I'm not saying that everything was his fault, but just to see just the motion, the momentum shift, the way that it has for Baker, just very odd to me. Let me get to the comment section right quick from my boy Fracture Walnut. We appreciate you as always for joining us. It says, "What's good, boys?" He also says, "If CMC stays healthy, I can see Baker starting after week 3. That's when Sam fell off.
Yeah, Sam fell off the earth."
He also says, but I can see him starting week 1 because he is going to want to play the Browns like he did Ohio State in the flag plant game. And also he says Baker lives for the underdog role, walked on at Texas Tech, and also with the Sooners he got the starting job. This is very true, and I will say I appreciate you, Fracture Wanda, for helping me segue right into this video clip of Baker Mayfield playing week 1 against the Cleveland Browns in Carolina. And here it is right here. So for my folks that are tuning in on the podcast later on after this clip, after this video will be over with, of course, what I showed was Baker Mayfield playing against Kansas when he played at Oklahoma. And that was the famous crotch grab game to where he was letting Kansas know that, hey, you can hold on to these because you didn't want to shake my hand in the beginning of the game. And look, everything Fracture Walnut said, he is not wrong at all. For some reason, Baker, I don't want to say for some reason, just probably just how he's wired. He plays better when nobody believes in him. He plays better when he's the underdog. He plays better when he has his back against the wall and somebody's telling him that he can't be who he is. And maybe this is what he needs. I saw a comment on social media, and I just want to throw this out there because I was baffled, and I just want to hear your thoughts on it. But what I read was Baker Mayfield reminds this individual of Brett Favre when he got traded from Atlanta to Green Bay. I made the exact same face ish because if you actually go back to the 90s, you remember Brett Favre and who he was and what he did when he joined the Green Bay Packers. He won 3 straight NFL MVPs. He also won a Super Bowl. So if you are putting Baker Mayfield on that level and you expect Baker Mayfield to go win not 3, but just 1 MVP and maybe make a Super Bowl appearance with the Carolina Panthers, then hey, you must have a sports almanac of the future, and you must know something that I don't know. And if you do have that, please let me know so we can make some bets and we can get some money out here in these streets. But I don't see that happening, Ish. And how do you feel about that take on social media?
Yeah, I don't see that happening. You're being really nice because if somebody is claiming that that's going to happen from a Baker Mayfield standpoint, then you must be on some high class drugs because that is just as of right now, there's no evidence to point towards that. There is no evidence to say that this man is going to make a big leap. You got to look at who he's working with in Carolina. Is CMC going to be able to stay healthy? Who knows? You got Robbie Anderson, yes. You got DJ Moore, yes. You got I forgot the rookie wide receiver that they just signed. I mean, you got some decent weapons, but do you have the pieces that are going to help Baker Mayfield? Are you saying that these pieces are substantially better than in Cleveland? I don't think so. So I think it's too crazy to say that he's going to be this guy that's going to turn it around and be an MVP caliber quarterback. I just don't think it's there. Now, could he be a solid starter? Could he turn into somebody more like that? I'm sorry that I even have to say this. Somebody more like Mr. Captain America, Kirk Cousins, and be just solid guy.
First of all, don't disrespect Kirk Cousins. Do not disrespect Kirk Cousins like that because Kirk Cousins is going to have a great season.
Nonsense.
We're going to do this all season long. You got your Danny Jones. I'll have Kirk Cousins. Okay?
Bro, don't even disrespect Danny Dimes like that, bro.
Danny Dimes have no excuse this year. It's Brian Dable. We'll talk about that another time. But anywho, back to Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the same page-ish.
Yeah.
This season, not just for Baker, but for other quarterbacks out there in the NFL, Carson Wentz, even the quarterback was on the same team, Mr. Sam Darnold, and I'll throw Kirk Cousins there, Dak Prescott. There's quarterbacks out here this upcoming season that are going to be looked at differently if you do not get the job done this upcoming season. I'm just being blatantly honest. Dak might be the only person that might have an excuse because I'm expecting the Cowboys to regress, not because of Dak, but just because of the whole team. So he might be the only one to have an excuse. But other than that, there are some quarterbacks that are on – I don't want to say the hot seat, but they're close. They're close. That seat is getting hot. So they're going to have to figure this out very shortly, especially with – I don't know about you, Ish. I think this is going to be maybe the only quarterback battle really in the NFL. There might be another quarterback battle I might be missing at the moment, but in Carolina, it seems as though that might be the only quarterback battle. It'd be interesting to see what happens going into camp with these two.
Well, I mean, you still have Seattle, which that situation is interesting.
And I'm happy that you bring that up because most likely, and this is what I'm thinking Seattle waiting for Jimmy G to get clear for Jimmy G to be traded to Seattle.
Okay,
that's what I'm thinking. But
I was just about to bring up San Francisco as well because technically Jimmy G's still in San Francisco.
Yes.
There is the whole question mark of I know people are ready for them to move on to Trey Lance, but it's kind of that same question they had last year going into the season. How do you move on from a guy that's able to take your team to the Super Bowl or to the NFC Championship game? For a guy that, I mean, he hasn't really stepped in and been convincing when he started, right? So
it seems as though in 49er land from former players and present players that they like what they see with Trey Lance right now because that wasn't the same noise that was coming out of camp last year. when people were saying,
Well,
I mean, he's still going to
clearly
learn
they
this, that,
seeing
and the
something
third,
that we
but
haven't seen yet, and I
I
can't
know I
wait for
haven't
training
seen it.
camp to start because I really want to see some of the
I
film that's
agree.
coming out of San Francisco.
I agree.
Because so far for me, he hasn't been as convincing as some of the noise that we are hearing. Because, like you said, in San Francisco, everybody seems to be on the same page as far as Trey Lance is the guy. But for what I've seen so far, I don't know why that is. I don't know why he is the guy there. But like you said, that's a story for another day. We'll get into that as we
We'll get
start
into
getting
that,
into
especially
training
for
camp
training camp.
episodes and talking about these teams.
Yes, sir. Let me get to this comment right quick from Fractual Walnut. He also says Brett walked into an already built system with great coaches. I think they had about 4 or 5 future great head coaches. Big difference. Now, I will agree to disagree with you on that one, Fractual Walnut. Yes, he did have great coaches to walk into in Green Bay. And he also had an even better environment playing with the Green Bay Packers just in that instance in itself. But Baker Mayfield is nowhere near Brett Favre. I will say the only thing he's near Brett Favre is the interceptions.
Wow.
Okay. Just throwing up some silly, wild interceptions. Other than that, we got to stop doing. Look, one thing we got to stop doing in the sports world, I'm talking about social media wise and even on the major networks. Y'all got to stop being disrespectful and trying to compare players from past and presents and all that good stuff. Like we got to stop doing that because it's getting disrespectful.
Please.
I'm just being honest. It's getting real disrespectful. But again, we'll talk about that another day. Let's go ahead and move forward with our next topic for today, which I think is a very interesting one because I think that everybody will have their own different list on these top 10 quarterbacks going into this upcoming season. If you haven't tuned in to ESPN recently, they dropped their top 10 quarterback list going into the 2022-2023 season. And I don't know about you, Ish, but I feel like anytime ESPN or Fox do anything, yes, they do it the right way, as in about 80% correct, but they also like to make sure they do things to make sure that people like us get a reaction. And they did what they did, as in they got a reaction out of us. So I'm going to show the top 10 quarterbacks that ESPN put when it comes to, according to league executive, coaches, scouts, and players. Now, this is a collective. This isn't just one player, one coach, one scout. So at the moment, number 1 quarterback going to this upcoming season will be Aaron Rodgers. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Tom Brady. Number 5, Joe Burrow. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Number 7, Justin Herbert. Number 8, Russell Wilson. Number 9, Deshaun Watson. And number 10, Dakota Prescott. And with that being said,
pretty solid.
I agree. I feel like there's some discrepancies, but overall, we're going to talk about it right quick. And for everybody that is tuning in, please let us know in the
top 10 in the comments. Let me see that.
And if not top 10, then just throw out top 5. If you don't want to put out 10 quarterbacks, throw out top 5. But that's why we're here. We have our top 10 ready for y'all to let y'all know who we have. And Ish, because I haven't seen in a long time. I want you to go first. I want to make sure that you let the folks know what's going on with your list. So we're going to start off with Ish's list first. And if you want to check down below on the ticker, Ish has his 10 quarterbacks, starting off with number 1, Tom Brady. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers. Number 4, Josh Allen. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Number 7, Joe Burrow. Number 8, Russell Wilson. Number 9, Derek Carr. And number 10, Dakota Prescott. Now, again, if you're tuning in, let us know how you feel about Ish's list. Do you think it's solid? Do you think it needs some changes? Or do you think it's just complete garbage? Let us know. I'm not mad at his list at all. There are some couple quarterbacks I might have to look at.
Say what you got to say, man.
Look, I respect Dakota's stat line, his completion rating. I respect all of that. I do.
Yeah.
But last season, in that playoff game, it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth because it seemed like last year that was the Cowboys' best opportunity team-wise to at least, not a Super Bowl, but at least make it to an NFC Championship game.
All right.
That's what it seemed like, right? And with that not happening, we see now the changes that the Cowboys are going through regarding their roster. And if you look at their roster now compared to their roster last year, offensively, I'm just talking about offensively because that's what Dakota
Mm-hmm.
plays. It's not what it was, not even just last year, but even 2 years ago, to where I am a little worried when it comes to how Dak Prescott will play this upcoming season. Do I think he will be the Dakota of pass, as in being throwing for 350, 2 touchdowns a game, one or no interceptions, and being able to win a regular season game? Yes, I expect that. But when it's November, December, and when we get into the playoffs, my question is do you actually like really feel like Dakota will get you past the next step? Like, do you look at Dak Prescott and say that guy is going to take me to where I need to be? And at the moment, for me, I don't feel like he is in that top 10 just yet. He's on the outside looking in, and that's really the only discrepancy I have. Derek Carr, honestly, that's another one, but I'm gonna leave it alone because that's actually something we'll talk about in the next episode regarding teams that we're looking forward into going into training camp. And Las Vegas Raiders is a team that I'm definitely looking into because I think this could be a one of those years, especially with Josh McDaniels at the helm. Maybe this is what the Raiders needed, as in that young up and coming. I want to say young, and I don't want to say up and coming anymore. So I'm gonna just take that away. Josh McDaniels. Maybe they need just Josh McDaniels at the helm. I don't know. We'll have to, of course, wait and see what happens. But for the most part, I think your list is pretty solid.
I'll just go ahead and quickly explain my thought process on the list real quick, and I don't really got to go too much in depth. I mean, the GOAT is sitting at number one, Mr. Thomas Brady. I think that he had the stats last year to back it up, and I think going into this year, there isn't much that you can say to take him off the top spot. He needs to be on the top spot for right now until somebody removes him from the top spot. Now, when it gets to number two, between Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, I was kind of sitting, tied for second place, maybe potentially there, because Patrick Mahomes' season last year, it left a little bit to be desired. And this is coming from a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I think it left some to be desired. I do think that Aaron Rodgers had a really good season, but I think partially when we're coming up with this list and we're talking about who are the top 10 quarterbacks going into the season, I think that you don't really know what you're going to see from Patrick Mahomes based off the year before last year. We could see a big turnaround, and that's where I kind of gave him the edge on Aaron Rodgers. I could see if somebody wanted to argue about maybe putting Aaron Rodgers in front of Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, sure, I can see that. Josh Allen, I think the consistency is what keeps him out of that top three with those top three guys. Right now, I do think the top three have kind of distanced themselves a little bit, and Josh Allen is like the first of the best of the rest because of that consistency problem that we tend to see from him, where in some games we've kind of seen him drop off a little bit. Although last year he did step up big in that Chiefs game in the playoffs, and it was just unfortunate he didn't get the ball, get a chance to have the ball. So he is sitting fourth, but this may be the year that really vaults him up into that top three spot, and then they can all argue it out. After that, 5 through the rest, it kind of gets dicey there because some people may argue and say Matthew Stafford needs to be a little bit higher. He just won a Super Bowl. I don't know about that one. I think Justin Herbert, the young guy, he's still, he's doing a great job. He was second in passing yards last year. I mean, he did throw 15 interceptions, which was a concern for me. And that's partially why he isn't sitting as high. 15 interceptions to 38 touchdowns. I think that was a little bit of a situation that I had to get past. Only a 97.7 quarterback rating. Not that quarterback rating is the greatest thing in the world, but I do think when you compare his quarterback rating to some of the other guys in the top 10, especially those guys sitting at the higher numbers, it says there's something there that he still needs to work on, right? Joe Burrow, I think he's earned a lot of respect the past. This last year, he did earn a lot of respect. Even the year before he got injured, he was playing at a really high level. And he has shown now that he can lead that team and be that guy. So Joe Burrow sitting in at number 7. Russell Wilson, I saw that you were talking about, Derek Carr. You made some comments here. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, you made comments about Dak Prescott sitting at number 10 behind Russell Wilson, but I would say Dak Prescott outperformed Russell Wilson. Sure, we could talk about the team. We could talk about Seattle. We could talk about what situation he has going on there. But to me, if we're talking about top 10 quarterbacks going into the season, I know everybody's high on Russell Wilson. They think, oh, he's going to Denver. He's going to make them a contender again. It might be the Denver situation like when Peyton Manning went to Denver. I don't know. I'm not really sold on that. I was a little bit iffy on Russell Wilson being in my top 10 because he did perform, a lot. It's not even close. When you really look at his stats and everything from last year, it's not even close. I know he missed some game time, but my goodness, even compared to some other people that missed game time, Russell Wilson, I'm a little iffy on him, but I gave him some respect based on his past history. Derek Carr, you could put an asterisk there because Derek Carr is sitting there at number 9. But honestly speaking, I didn't put Deshaun Watson into my top 10 because Deshaun Watson sat out all of last season, because Deshaun Watson may potentially be suspended this season. I mean, we really don't know what's going on with him, so he didn't make it into the list. Yeah, if he were all good and fine, he would definitely be in this top 10 list. Believe me, and Derek Carr would be sitting outside. But because Deshaun Watson has all of these asterisks, ifs, ands, and buts around him, he's not sitting in there, and Derek Carr has found a place in there. I do rate Derek Carr higher than Dak Prescott, only because, like you said, Dak Prescott has all the weapons. Dak Prescott had everything going for him, and he has still not been able to be that guy. So at what point do we look at him and just say, hey, you know what, Dak Prescott, you're a really solid quarterback. You're a really good guy. You're a starter in this league. But realistically, when it comes down to it, you're just not that guy. And it may be a situation where Dak is just not the guy. So Dak is sitting at number 10 for me. That's kind of how I went through my list and how I determined it. Really, when you talk about the top 10 quarterbacks, though, it gets really interesting because some people may throw in somebody like a Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson, he could have made it into the list for me if he were a little more consistent with the arm. I think the ups and downs we've seen with the arm, and while it did get better, and trust me, I think of the people who have watched the show who know me, I was very, very positive about Lamar Jackson last year. I was giving him all the credit in the world in the improvement that we did see. Now, while he did improve a lot, he took a big step forward as far as his arm and his consistency throwing outside the numbers last year. I still don't think he's up there in the top 10 when we're talking about overall quarterback impact for his team. I think he's just sitting on the outside looking in, but he could definitely take that step forward this year if he gets healthy players around him. Let's remember, last year, Baltimore had a lot of injuries on the offensive side. He was running pretty much with a skeleton crew, and he was still able to do what he did. A lot of respect to him, but I just don't have him going into the season in my top 10. I definitely think he could be in the top 10, if not higher, and like as far as like maybe sitting in the top 5 if he continues his progression, if he continues improving, and if he has the healthy players around him. But for right now, going into the season, he just doesn't make the top 10 because of I don't think he's quite there with the rest of these guys.
I respect everything that you said. And again, that's why I said before we started this, everybody's top 10 is going to be different. It's an opinion-based topic before we actually get into the season, and all this will be determined on the field. Before we get into my top 10, let's go to the comment section right quick from our boy Fracture Walnut. He says Pollard playing instead of Zeke will help Dak more than anything. I think that's still going to be a 60-40 split, maybe 50-50. I think everybody kind of knows and sees Zeke, of course, is regressing, but one thing about Zeke, he's a hell of a pass blocker. So that will keep him in the lineup. And also being best friends with Dak Prescott would also keep you as a starter as well, too. So I know for sure those carries are going to continue to get split. But if Pollard can continue to keep playing the way he's playing, as we say all the time, Ish, in football, if you have a running game, it will help take the pressure off of everybody. So if they can use that two-headed monster, the Cowboys will be on a different path moving forward. He also says, I think Mahomes hit his rookie wall last year. Dude's been balling every year since he came into the league. Teams adjusted to his play style, and he will beat those adjustments this season. Of course, one of his main weapons, of course, Tyreek Hill is not with the Chiefs anymore. But and I'll talk about that with my top 10 quarterbacks. To be honest with y'all, I don't think it hurts Patrick Mahomes. If anything,
I
I
think
think
it
it
can
makes
help
him be
him.
more dangerous because it doesn't have you don't have to key in on one wide receiver. And I don't
I
and
agree.
I know you're a Chiefs fan. I know you heard about what's going on in camp, but Marquez Valdez-Scantling apparently is balling out in camp at the moment. So it's not like they don't have wide receivers. They have plenty of wide receivers. And it's not like Patrick Mahomes just gonna poof and just be trash all of a sudden now that he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. But it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out for the Chiefs because at the end of the day, it's hard as hell to replace speed like Tyreek Hill. Just go back and go watch a couple of clips and just go see how well he's able to create separation on just his speed alone. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Tyreek Hill. Again, we'll talk about training camp and Tua and all of them later on in another show because we could spend another 35 minutes on that alone. So let's go ahead and get into my top 10 list. And with my top 10 list, I have number 1, Aaron Rodgers. Number 2, Josh Allen. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Number 4, Tom Brady. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Number 6, Matt Stafford. Number 7, Joe Burrow. Number 8, Lamar Jackson. Number 9, Russell Wilson. Number 10, Deshaun Watson. Now, I will explain my top 10 very briefly, and then we can go ahead and move on to the next topic at hand. Of course, look, let's be real. One through 4, I call them that's the golf crew. That's the golf foursome. When it comes to who they are and what they could be, Tom could be number 1, and Aaron Rodgers could be number 4. Josh Allen could be number 1. Patrick Mahomes could be number 1. Again, depending on who you ask and who your ties are to those players and how you feel about said player, any one of those 4 quarterbacks could be number 1 quarterback when the season is over with. But when it comes to what Aaron Rodgers has been able to do, not just last year, not 2 years, but last 5 years, I mean, I know he hasn't won a championship since 2011, and I'll be the first one to say, look, he needs to win another Super Bowl before we even crown him as the GOAT because, let's be real, it's Tom Brady until somebody takes that crown. But when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to touchdown interception ratio, it's hard not to deny what Aaron Rodgers is doing. I understand he plays against the Lions twice a year. I understand he plays against the Bears twice a year, and he owns the Bears. But Aaron Rodgers is still that guy, and I have to have him at number 1. Number 2 with Josh Allen. I'm happy you brought up about what you talked about last year with Josh Allen and how he played. I'm piggybacking off of everything that you said and starting off with that Chiefs game. I think more than anything, it helps refuel him for this upcoming season to perform even better because, and as you know this, we don't remember our wins. We remember them hurt ass losses that you lose by a point or a touchdown or a last second play or whatever it is. Those hurt more than anything. And I think Josh Allen, after that loss in Kansas City, sitting on the bench and taking all that in, it's going to be a very dangerous Josh Allen going into next season. The only concern I have with Josh Allen is losing Brian Dable. Be interesting to see what happens on the offensive side with them in Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes at number 3. Ain't too much to be said on now when y'all know who he is. Thomas Brady. Mr. Brady led all passing statistics last season and say, you know what? I'm going to retire. Psych! Gotcha. And, of course, again, if you check out our show, you should know that we already called that Tom Brady was not going to retire. And, of course, he's back once again. Justin Herbert, my guy, the next one up, Mr. Justin Herbert. He is the Giannis of the NFL when it comes to he's the next one. He's up and coming. I have him at 5. When it comes to ranking wise, Ish and I have Justin Herbert and Matt Stafford right there at 5 and 6. ESPN had Joe Burrow over Matt Stafford. I just can't place a guy who lost the Super Bowl to the guy who won the Super Bowl. I can't place him over. I'm sorry. Matt Stafford's been in the league for 12 plus years, right? 12 plus years. Has nothing but stats wise and pretty damn good stats. Just was with a okay franchise. I'm being nice, and finally was with a franchise that actually believes in them and gives them the pieces. And we saw what happened this past year. So I had to put Matt Stafford at number 7. Joe Burrow. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him now that he finally has a decent line. Jamar Chase with their maybe 4th year now, with 2 years in LSU and now 2 years in the league. It'd be great to see that combination. It'd be great to see how the offense continues to form together, and then also that defense hopefully should get even better as well for them in Cincy. Number 8 with Lamar Jackson. Look, I know you said it's hard for you to put him in the top 10 just due to inconsistencies on in the pocket with his arm, and I respect that. And I'm going to be the first. I'm going to be the one every week for the rest of the season that's going to get on Lamar Jackson, because I don't give a damn about running highlights when it comes to Lamar Jackson. I am sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, look at Lamar Jackson in this running highlight. He scored a touchdown." I don't care. These are the same people that will cry to you and talk about how this dude is not a running back, but then show you running highlights of him at quarterback. Boom, boom, mind blown-ish. That's honestly how I feel about that. So with that being said, everything that you said about him last year playing with the skeleton crew and still playing pretty decently, I feel as though because Lamar Jackson is the system in Baltimore, it will allow them to regroup, get them on fresh legs of running backs, and also hopefully work out those wide receiver kinks that they have over there, and hopefully Lamar can have a better season. But overall, with Baltimore, they got to get a true number 1 because they just don't have that. So we'll see what happens with that.
They don't have a true number 1.
Anywho, number 9 with Russell Wilson. Again, I think everybody's being very disrespectful right now, especially Ishmael talking about going to Denver and trying to be like Peyton Manning all over again. I don't think he wins a Super Bowl.
How am I being disrespectful? No, see, this is where we're gonna have that argument.
But Russell Wilson will have a hell of a next 2 seasons and maybe win a Super Bowl that 3rd year. But at the moment, the AFC West is a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet, and I don't know. I mean, we have 3 of the quarterbacks. I'm sorry. I in my list have 3 of the quarterbacks in the AFC West. You have all 4 of them, and all 4 of them in the AFC West in your top 10. So that alone right there just tells you what the AFC West is about to be about. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. And number 10, look, I know everybody wants to make jokes, and that's perfectly fine. If I'm Deshaun Watson, keep the jokes coming. Okay. Keep the jokes coming, because I'm gonna say this: if Deshaun Watson was able to do what he was able to do with the Lonely Texans, be on the lookout for that.
But everybody knows that. That's not an argument. I mean, he's arguably top 5. He's arguably top 5 if he plays this season. I'm just saying, like if he had played last year's season, even with the Texans, he's arguably top 5. Like it's there. We all know that.
And
but the problem is he gonna play?
He is that good that he can miss a year and still be in the top 10. That's why I put him in the top 10.
Is he gonna play?
Even if he gets suspended, his ass still in the top 10. That's how good he is.
How it's looking right now, he probably not even gonna get suspended for anything.
Hey, that's what's crazy about the whole thing. If he really is able to get out of here with no suspension, boy, I'm telling you, I'm being NRG with that Browns Deshaun Watson jersey, and I promise you that.
Here you go with that.
Here I go.
Hey, I just want to say real quick to all the people that are on Facebook, we're not seeing the comments in studio, so that's why we're not putting them up on the screen. But I have been seeing the comments. I'm just going to say, I know there are some people that had some problems with the list commenting in Facebook. Hey, whenever you want, you come on the show. We can definitely handle that and squash that out. But most definitely, we see the comments. We just can't put them up because they're not showing in studio right now.
Well, they're not showing on Ish's side. They're showing on mine. That's why I'm bringing them up.
Okay.
But I am going to adjust it to where everybody can see the comments, and I'll do that in a quick second. Fracture Watt also says, I can see Lamar in the top 10 if he doesn't get hurt. When they were rolling and John just takes the field goal instead of going for it, the Bengals might not have been in the Super Bowl. Hey, it's a lot of ifs, buts, and here's
there's a lot of ifs and stuff in there, Mr. Fractured. I just can't.
Football is from time to time. So with that being said, let's go ahead and segue. I'm happy Fractured Walnut is here because the Houston Texans actually finally did something right. They actually finally did something right, and shout out to the Houston Texans. They have dropped a new helmet alternate for their Battle Red Day that they have every year here in Houston.
One day. One
It's
day.
one
We're
game.
gonna wear the red helmets one day.
Hey, it's one. Well, that's the thing about these new helmets. It's not just with the Houston Texans; it's with all teams across the league. Every team will be able to wear an alternate helmet with their alternate jersey. That's something new that the NFL is implementing this upcoming season. So you're going to see some pretty damn good uniforms. You might see some ugly ass uniforms, depending on how your taste is. So with that being said, let's go ahead and show the people, if you haven't seen so far, the Houston Texans new helmet. And Ish, I don't know about you, but this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I mean,
Yeah, I like it.
I'm very impressed. I'm very excited for what the Texans were able to do. They finally got something right, and all the Texans need to do is just make this their damn permanent helmet and uniforms. Y'all need to stick with the
Thank
red
you.
helmets. I'm
Yes.
sorry, the battle red uniforms, and
Yes.
stick with that. I mean, this is. I mean, I just want to cry. I just.
Yeah, the battle reds that we need to stay with the battle reds. The battle reds. Whoo.
These are nice. Hey,
I might actually watch a Texan game if they stay with the battle reds.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to.
Well, I know it's the only thing that comes on over here, unfortunately. But
whatever.
All right,
it's just a part of the cable package that we have at the moment. All right, Fracture Wild also said shit is fire, but something new needs to draw fans out. He also says, which they will only wear for one game. Shit is whack. I want to see the whole new fit. Yeah, the whole new fit will be coming out shortly. I'm pretty sure on that one. Also, the team will wear what is called the Battle Red helmets for the November 3rd game against the Philadelphia Eagles in a training camp practice. So you don't get it one time, Fraction One, you get it twice. So if you want to check out training camp practice, whatever joint practice that y'all will have against, again, whoever it will be, get to break out the Battle Red helmets for that one. So I guess that's kind of nice, right? Fracture Wanda, anything else you have to say about?
We've already wasted too much time talking about the Texans. Let's just be honest. Nobody wants to talk about them. Nobody cares about them.
I'm trying to be nice. Okay.
No. The team, the organization in Houston, they don't even deserve airtime.
Damn.
Until they start getting their stuff together.
That bad, huh? All righty then, let's go ahead and move on. Apparently, people ain't too happy with the Texans, so let's go ahead and move on to a team that's not too happy with their first round draft pick. The New England Patriots went ahead and traded N'Keal Harry to the Chicago Bears for a 2024 seventh round draft pick. And look, if you've seen this develop from the beginning to where this is now, let's be real, Ish. We kind of saw this coming.
You saw it coming. Come on. Come on, man.
We kind of saw this coming after year one. Maybe year or two is like, yeah, of course. But even after year one, you're kind of like, I don't think this is going to work out. And the real crazy thing about this situation for the Patriots and Bill Belichick is that this is the first time in Bill Belichick's tenure as the New England Patriots New England Patriots head coach that he took a wide receiver in the first round in the first place. So usually when you do that, you expect them to produce, right? That did not happen over 3 seasons that N'Keal Harry played for the New England Patriots. He only had 56 catches for 500 yards, and that is not something that is makes you a productive first round wide receiver. And it seems as though that the New England Patriots, of course, went ahead and moved on and got him up out of there. And to be honest with you, I don't know who. I'm looking at this and like, who is this worse on? N'Keal Harry going to the Bears or Justin Fields still not getting any help? I mean, I'm literally looking at it like,
okay, why do you got to be disrespectful like that though?
I mean, you being disrespectful?
Why you got to do that?
You being disrespectful?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not being disrespectful at all. I mean, I'm trying to keep it nice. I mean, potentially they could be getting. You can look at it in a positive light, man. It's a guy that hasn't played a lot. I mean, he played 12 games last year. 14 games the year before, 7 games the year before that. So, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear. He was a first round pick. Maybe in a new system, in a new city, he's going to find what he needs to, get him started. I know there was a lot of hype about him coming into New England, and then even last year in the offseason, there was some noise that started to come out about people saying, he looked a little bit better. He had put in some work. They were saying maybe he's turning the corner, and then it just didn't work out in the season. And historically, we know that some receivers have struggled in that system. That system is not necessarily for every receiver. So maybe it's a situation of the system didn't fit him, and he's going to be able to get a chance in Chicago to show what he's got. I'm not going to write him off just yet. He has all the measurables that you would want from a receiver. He's 6'4", 225. I mean, he's got the size. He runs a solid time. So he definitely has what he needs to make it. It's just, is he going to have the opportunity he needs in Chicago? Is Justin Fields going to be able to, distribute the ball that way he needs to distribute the ball as well in Chicago? Are they going to give him the opportunity to do that? I think they will, because I think that the Bears are going to be down in a lot of games. So they're going to have their opportunity to throw the ball around. We'll see. I do think, though, if he doesn't have some success this year, it might be it. I believe he's in the last year of his contract. So this is a big year for him. He's got to put up, and hopefully he's able to put up. I mean, I would hate to see it end like this for him, go to Chicago and not be able to do anything, and then who knows what opportunity he's able to receive after that. But we'll have to wait and see, man.
Wait and see, as always. Of course, Fracture One in the comments says Bill's going to turn that pick into a Pro Bowl player. Sorry, Ish, I know you hate that word. But when it comes to what the Patriots was able to get out of this, could this be the beginning of the end for the Patriots? I mean, not hitting on draft picks like they used to, and
now you're being real.
Look, I'm just being honest.
Now you're being real disrespectful.
I mean, listen, and just think about this. Mac Jones, this is going to be his third year going into the system. I'm sorry, second year going into the system. Again, I don't think he's a horrible quarterback. I just think he's a system quarterback for the Patriots. That's what I think he's perfect for what the Patriots do. My question is how successful are they going to be overall? I mean, you have Matt Patricia back there. You have oh Lord, I can't remember his name right now. But you have two offensive coordinators trying to ride this ship for the Patriots, and I just don't know. Like I don't know what to expect from the Patriots this year, because from what I see in their division alone, they're the third best team, right? We tried to write them off last year. They played a lot better than what we thought. But
you're putting them behind
the Dolphins. Yes. Yeah. Or are we okay right now? Yes. Even with Tua at quarterback. Yes, I am. You okay?
I don't think it's a shut case as you trying to make it seem. I think the Dolphins are a solid team. I respect the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins. And I thought last year, if you remember, I said the Dolphins were going to do it. I was ready for the Dolphins to do it, and they came up a little bit short. So it's not that I'm saying the Dolphins aren't up there in that conversation, but I mean,
just
playoffs.
After you get done with this show, go check out their roster. Just go see who they were able to pick up in the offseason. Besides Tyreek Hill, you have, of course.
Hey, I believe. And I am still under the spell, I think, of the Dolphins, that I think with that defense and now the addition of Tyreek Hill, I still thought last year they should have been competing with the Buffalo Bills, or at least challenging the Buffalo Bills. So, this year with the additions that they made, I definitely think that they're more in that conversation with the Buffalo Bills of, hey, Buffalo, you can't just sit there and think that you're going to run away with this division, because Miami has the defense to compete, and we all talk about it. When it comes to playoff time, when it comes to winning championships, you got to have a defense, and Miami has that defense. The offense just hasn't been there, and that has always been my concern. Tua has not been able to put it together when he needed to put it together. Even I would say the year before when they had Ryan Fitzpatrick, it was Ryan Fitzmagic that was doing more so of carrying some of that weight than Tua was doing. And last year, I was still a little unconvinced with him. I don't know how I feel about him leading this team. Is he going to be able to get them over the hill to the playoffs this year? I hope so. I don't know if the defense is going to be able to carry him though, because I do feel like it's a situation where your big brother on the defensive side is carrying the little brother on the offensive side.
Oh yeah.
If Tyreek Hill is able to make that change, then yeah, I think they're easily up there 1-2 with the Bills.
It's going to be a couple of things that we're going to have to look for when it comes to Miami Dolphins. How do they play against the Buffalo Bills? Because if you remember last year, they got mollywopped. Not once, but twice. 50 pieces on them both times.
Yeah.
And that's that type of defense cannot give up a 50-point game like that. And also, how are they going to use Tyreek Hill? Are they going to allow him to be like a Deebo Samuel and give him touches in the backfield and give him the ball a little bit more and allow him to be the playmaker he is? Of course, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But for Miami, they have to get out of their own heads. They are in their own heads. And maybe with the new fresh start, with the new coach, maybe that allows them to get on a different track than they was. Because, again, they started the season last year 1-7. You start the season off 1-7, it's
bad, man.
It's going to be hard to get out of that hole. They tried to get out of the hole, and they were just a little too late. Fracture One also says coaching will be the big factor in this. Roster-wise, they are better than New England. I agree, and I agree on both parts. I mean, yes, coaching, but talent wins you games too. I mean, NFL. I mean, yeah, coaching does win games, but you have to have the talent on that roster.
Can we say this? And this is just to wrap that up. And we said it a lot last year. There are certain teams that they've done it, they've been there before. And so when it comes down to those situations, they know how to get pushed through it, right? And then there are teams that it takes them a while to learn that and get that culture in there so that when they do run into those situations of, hey, this is a do or die situation, we've got to make it happen, they're able to make it happen as a team, right? I think Miami's they're on that cusp right there where it's like they've been up against the wall a couple times now where it's like you really should have made it into the playoffs and you just missed it. You know, is this the year that they finally are able to say, you know what, we've been around here, we've got that culture, we've been building that culture there, let's break through and make it in there? And I hope that this is the year because I like what Miami has done. I don't like the situation of getting rid of Brian Flores, but that's a whole nother situation that we can talk about some other time. But I like what they have done in Miami, and I like the makeup of the team. I think that they got a lot of swag going on in Miami, and I appreciate what they got. So,
and especially
I'm just hoping the culture
living in a city like Miami too will help you develop that swag as well too.
Oh yeah. So if the culture's there, they should do it. New England has definitely been tailing a little bit downward, I think, and that roster situation has gotten worse and worse. Bill may still have some magic on it. If somehow he find a way. So
we can all agree that the New England Patriots are the third best team in that division, right?
I may have taught myself.
All right, to them. With that being said,
I want to put them level with Miami. I'll put them level with Miami just to hold out.
With that being said, again, we have training camp coming up in a couple of weeks. We, of course, will be here to talk about that. Of course, talk about the training camp stories and also what to expect moving forward when we get out of training camp going into the preseason. But before we get up out of here, though, for tonight, just want to let everyone know, because I don't know about you, but I'm very proud of this. We at the moment have over 3,000 streams on our podcast. Slowly but surely, we have continued and continue to keep on working. So we appreciate everybody as always for tuning in on video, as in YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or of course tuning in on podcasts on all streaming platforms. We appreciate that tremendously, because without y'all, there is no us. You know, I can put out these podcasts all I want to, you know, but if nobody's listening to it, there's no point in putting them out. But y'all listen to them. We appreciate that. We really do. That's why we do this. And also, to be honest with you, even if you didn't listen, I'll still do it just because I love it just that much. But on a serious note, I do appreciate y'all as always. And for that, I want to go ahead and drop this clip for y'all right quick. There we go. All righty then. With that being said, another episode of X Talking Ish is in the books. Tune in back with us again next week. We will be back. Hopefully, again, every week we should have a show now that the season is ramping back up again. With training camp starting right around the corner. After training camp, of course, we have preseason games, and after preseason games, right back at it once again.
Right back.
I hope everybody enjoyed the new streaming platform we are on. We are on Restream now. We are moving from StreamYard. No disrespect to StreamYard. I just like what I have.
All disrespect.
With Restream. Here we go. Ish with the hate with that. Don't
All
be hating, man.
disrespect.
Don't be hating. But on a serious note, shut up, Ish. Shut up. Well, on a serious note, for real though, we appreciate y'all as always for tuning in, and we're just trying to get bigger and better every season, and just try to give y'all things that y'all like to watch. And if y'all ever have anything that you're in mind to let us know about, hopefully we can try to get this in here for a show. And as always, we will see y'all next time on X Talking Ish every Tuesday night, 9:00 Central, 10:00 Eastern time. Ish, you got anything to say to the people?
No, just appreciate you guys tuning in as always, and just be on the lookout for some of the changes coming this season, because there are a lot of changes coming this season.
It's said it, not me. All right, then. With that being said, we'll see y'all next week on X Talking Ish.